Welcome to the Industry Matters podcast. I'm Travis Hoy with VGM, and today I'm excited to introduce Melissa Ness, President and CEO of Connectify HR. Melissa, what can you tell the folks about your experience as a small business owner and just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Travis. Really excited to be here and looking forward to chatting with you today. I am a small business owner. I own Connectify HR, but I'll say my small business roots started long ago, actually before I even hit 20. I started working with small businesses, and my background is accounting and finance. So kind of grew up in the CPA world and then ventured out and ended up at a small PEO called Merit Resources in 2007. I just kind of fell in love with the people aspect, fell in love with the combination of serving people and small business through, my roots in accounting and finance and beyond. And so, was at that organization for 15 years. And long story short, founded and started Connectify in 2021, early 2021. But really, that was the culmination of an extension of about, 15 or 17 years of experience in the same industry, just doing it for other organizations and, again, serving small businesses my whole career. And it's that iceberg where you see the top of, what might have happened in terms of starting Connectify, but really, again, just a culmination of lots of years, not just with myself, but with others that came along with me, co-founders and other people, leaders who had lots of experience. So, small business has my heart. I think we're the heartbeat of America, and we drive the economies and employ so many people, and we work very hard. And so I love watching other small to medium-sized businesses thrive, and I love playing any part that I can in that. It's so much fun to see.
I think your business idea is amazing, right? Helping people with HR, that's something that a lot of people need help with. The first question I have is, can you share a success story of a Connectify client who experienced significant cost savings after partnering with you?
Yeah, there are so many, and we have plenty of examples where we save clients kind of hard dollars, if you will, around benefit premium or 401k costs to the employer. I think as small to medium-sized business owners, though, we especially know that saving time, it's a big deal because it's in such high demand. We have so many things to do and not enough time to do it. And so to me, that impactful lever is really about saving time, which we can do in spades. I'll give you a specific example that's kind of fresh in my mind. I met with an organization. They had two primary owners who were kind of doing all the things themselves. They were processing payroll, paying their payroll taxes, funding the retirement for the team themselves. And when they kind of sat back and counted, they were each spending about 10 hours per week for both of them on these tasks. And at the same time, they were really nervous about it because they weren't experts. They were doing their best, but they weren't sure if it was getting done correctly or they were forgetting or missing things. And so when they hired us, not only were we able to give them that time back, that 20 hours in total per week, we were also able to give them peace of mind, knowing that they were getting things done accurately and in compliance. And these two owners in particular, they really wanted to focus on growing the business. They had some really specific opportunities that they just weren't getting to because they were bogged down by these tasks that, by the way, they didn't enjoy.
Right. And I'm assuming these laws and guidelines change probably
all the
daily,
time.
Right?
Yeah,
that's awesome. What do you typically find is most challenging for companies doing business in multiple states? That's kind of what we were just talking about.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, every state does things a little bit differently in many areas of employment that we cover. So think about payroll taxes are different. Policies are different. Workers' compensation can be different. The requirements can be different by state. Payroll payout and when they have to be paid out or how they're paid out can be different. PTO policies might need to be different, and it goes on. And so navigating all of that when you're working across multiple states is really challenging, especially if you have limited resources and limited knowledge, which most do because they didn't go into business to run these things and to be experts in it. They went into business to do something else like HME. And so they often don't know what they don't know. And it really breaks my heart when we come across a situation where we find an organization has had to pay fines, penalties, interest on things like accidentally not paying payroll taxes correctly or to the right state, or unknowingly violating some employment law that, again, that's really specific and they just didn't know about. And so, yeah, just helping them navigate and stay in compliance in all those different areas is really what we want to do and what we find most challenging for them when we get to meet with them and talk with them.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. What are the key areas where businesses typically see cost savings or efficiency gains when partnering with Connectify? And can you quantify those potential savings?
Yeah, so it really does depend. We find all sorts of different things in different situations all the time, meaning different vendors, doing everything themselves or hiring a myriad of vendors. Most commonly, what we find is a lot of redundant work and kind of unintentional errors because of the different aspects of employment being disconnected. So think about, if you think about the employee life cycle, and when you recruit someone or you're looking for someone, you interview someone, that's part of it. Then you might do a background check. Then you might onboard them, benefits enrollment, payroll, employee relations, performance management, 401. All those things are in that employee life cycle, if you will, and we often find they're disconnected. Sometimes all of them are disconnected. And what do I mean by that? I mean, it's a different vendor, or it's a different process, or a different person. And so they're spending a lot of time managing that and sometimes not well, much to their dismay. So I'll give you a quick example, benefits. So we often find where employees enroll in a separate benefit system, or maybe even on paper, which is separate from where their payroll gets processed. But as you know, when payroll gets processed, deductions have to get in there somehow. So, and then a third place is the carrier. So it's also separate. The carrier is separate. And so these three places, that every single benefit for every employee, it has to be updated flawlessly in order to make sure you aren't overpaying benefits for employees who have turned over, terminated, maybe they've changed coverage. Maybe you also have to make sure that you don't miss an enrollment on accident for someone who's clearly expecting to have benefits when they go to the doctor. And then third, doing triple the work when you don't have time for it. And so it's a lot. So, that last example I gave of the 10 hours per week for two owners, so 20 hours, that was a relatively small group. I think they had about maybe 30 employees. Another example is a group that we work with. They have over 600 employees, and they had hundreds of people misclassified on their different benefits because all those things were disconnected. It wasn't for lack of trying. Sometimes it's just even the carriers. The carriers aren't getting them terminated after you've asked them to. And so having the kind of the power or the resources to make sure that that gets done timely and you're not overcharged.
Yeah, it's a complicated business. I'm not connected to it. I just hear the stories.
It's so much.
Yeah, I can only imagine. How does Connectify help attract and retain top talent, which is crucial for sustained growth?
So many ways, there's not one size fits all, and much to our dismay as leaders, there's no easy button for attracting and retaining top talent. Wouldn't that be nice? So it's really multifaceted. And what we do is we want to work alongside and support the organizations we serve to look through all the different facets of an employee's experience. And so things like, again, that recruiting process. So what's your response time? How are you treating that prospective employees right from the beginning? And then let's say you do hire them, are you giving them pre-boarding instructions? Are you talking them through what that first day looks like? What does orientation look like? What's ongoing training? So really just looking across all these different areas, what kind of benefits are you providing? Is that competitive in your market? Are you contributing competitive amounts in your market? If you can't afford to, are there some other different things that you could do that might move the needle? So really just kind of helping them dial in all these different areas of that employee's experience. Their compensation, we can do, market comparables for compensation by role, industry, size, et cetera. And so really just taking a look at, again, all those different things, because, each culture, demographic, geographic mix, it requires thoughtful approach, just again, to review all those different areas of that employee's experience.
That makes sense. The next question is, how do you cultivate a customer-centric culture within Connectify and ensure that every employee prioritizes the client experience?
Yeah, it's so important, and it's a big part of kind of our why. And so for us, it really starts in the hiring process. So we look for naturally service-hearted, servant-hearted individuals with ideally experience in the services we provide. What's most important to us, though, is they have that service motivation or that internal drive towards service. We have a lot of experience on the team to help teach the services we provide or kind of the functions they may be doing, but that, again, that internal drive. And so because it's so important to us in our mission, we recruit all year long, regardless if we have an open position, so that we can really ensure we have the best of the best when it comes to adding new people, because our current team deserves that and our clients deserve that too. So one more quick comment on that is just, we're a real believer that if we take great care of our people, so hire the right people, take great care of them, it's the right thing to do. And also they'll take great care of our clients. It's that kind of inside out approach.
Yeah, it's like it goes full circle. And the other thing I like about your team is you've got like a 4-hour response. I wouldn't call it a rule, but a benefit. And
Yeah,
I
the
kind of like
service
that
commitment.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to do that in my own job here, responding for.
It's hard to do, but kind of like we tool everything we do around that. So we know responsiveness when it comes to, when people have questions about their payroll or their benefits or 401k or workers' comp, it's kind of important. They're probably experiencing some level of stress. Boy, we better get back to them right away because we don't want that for them.
Right. And I believe each client of yours has a dedicated person that every time they have a question, they get the same person.
Yeah, so we do. We designate an HR person and a payroll person to every single organization we serve so that they can become familiar with those organizations they serve, and that organization can become familiar with them, and they can truly feel like, an extension of that team and part of that team. That way, when issues come up or they need resolution, they're already familiar with those people in organization and they can work through them pretty seamlessly, just like you do when you have tenure on your team, on your internal team. Things go easier, decisions get made faster. It just works better. And often our team catches things like, hey, did you mean to do this? It seems like knowing you, you might have meant to do this. And often they catch things and those organizations are like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for catching that. Well, had it been a new random person every time, there's a good chance they wouldn't have noticed.
I know that's the worst is when you call customer service. Like, let's say you're dealing with a serious issue, you call customer service like 5 times and you get a different person each time.
Yeah.
It's not a pleasant experience.
No, it's not.
So next question is, how do you leverage technology to enhance the customer service experience without losing the personal touch?
Yeah, it's so important. And I've been doing this long enough that we have so much more technology than we used to. When I first started in this industry, it was a lot of paper floating around, but now we have this great benefit of technology where we can streamline and automate as many transactional items as possible. And so we do that through kind of this HRIS system where everything lives. And so all the different parts of that employee life cycle that I've mentioned are in that HRIS. So we are not, and of course our clients are not having to swivel chair anything. It's kind of a one point of entry. We manage that on their behalf. And that really lets our team focus on the human aspects of human resources and the human aspects of employment. So listening, brainstorming, bringing solutions, bringing ideas, sometimes just caring and, making sure that there's someone caring on the other line when, someone's gotten hurt on the job or something has happened. And so again, just trying to use that great technology that we have at our fingertips to automate and streamline so we can focus on those human aspects that are so very important.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I like that. Let's see. At its heart, what is the driving force behind Connectify? What meaningful difference do you aim to make for business owners?
Well, our entire team, it goes back to that kind of servant's heart. They're all about making a difference and an impact on the lives of those they serve in every single interaction. It's so fun to watch. They're just driven by that. And so, that leads into some of the things that we've already mentioned a little bit here, Travis, is like, we don't have 800 numbers. We have direct line access. We don't use call queues. We don't use ticketing. We don't have long response time. That familiar team member is going to pick up. I like to say that you're going to know who's going to pick up the phone and or email, if not immediately, when, because it's within 4 business hours. That's our service promise. So how to get a hold of them, who's going to pick up the phone, and when you'll have a response by. And that's so important. And that's a big part of that driving force of how we feel like we can make a difference in those lives that we serve.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Those are difference makers. You know, the 4 hour response time, the dedicated employee, like that's rare these days.
Yeah.
Next question is, what kind of feedback do you regularly receive from your clients about their service experience? And what are some common themes you hear?
Well, I have the best job because the feedback I hear is nothing short of inspirational for me because it is an amazing team. I work with the best team. They are well loved by our clients. You only have to walk by their desks to see cards they get from their clients. They get invites to their holiday parties. I mean, it's so cool to watch. And again, it's because of the care they show and that service heart that they have towards those organizations. They really want them to succeed. Things I consistently hear or themes are, I love your team. They make things so easy for me. They were so responsive. They helped me with this really difficult situation. And I don't know what I would do without them. And it goes on. It's so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I like to say that, so we're fellow Iowa companies. So you guys have that Iowa work ethic, right? Like you'll do whatever it takes. So I think that's cool.
Yes.
My last question is, imagine a business owner watching this video. What key takeaways do you want them to remember?
Yeah, I would just say, if you're struggling with employment at all, you don't have to do it alone. If you're having challenges with HR, attracting and retaining employees, maybe it's benefit issues, questions, payroll, HR technology, let us know. We're happy to have an informal conversation, even just if you want to brainstorm, check in on a topic. Again, we're happy to do that. Just be a resource for anyone. Nobody should have to struggle with those things when they have such important work to do, especially the work that you all do in your industry. It's needed, important, and, let us, again, just even have a conversation to alleviate a fear, alleviate a challenge, no strings attached, free, whatever you want to call it. We want to be a resource and be of service to those that are struggling.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And it's almost like having a counsel on board, you know what I mean? Like to make sure you're following the laws and all these guidelines, because the last thing you want to do is get a big fine or, God forbid, end up in prison. So I think that's awesome that you guys watch out for your clients like that.
Yeah, thank you. We love it. It's so rewarding for us.
Yeah, like I said, it's a really cool business model. That's it for my questions. Is there anything else you want to add?
Other than saying thank you, VGM is such a great organization and we love working with each of you. You're all so delightful. And like you said, your work ethic is so great and your friendliness and I don't know, just the things that you do in your industry and for your members is inspirational to us. So thanks for allowing us some time.
Appreciate that. I feel like we have a good synergy between our two companies so far, and we've only been working together since what? May?
Yeah. Feels like forever. Like it was like it's always been, but yeah, it hasn't been very long.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot done so far. Again, thank you for your time, and we'll talk to you later.
Awesome. Thanks, Travis.
Okay, take care.
Bye.